Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the second round of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. And welcome to the stage a former Lakeside quarter-finalist, a winner of 4 PDC youth titles. He hit the 9-dart finish on this very stage 5 years ago. Smudger R.Smith! We now introduce a former Gibraltar Darts Trophy champion, 7 times a TV Major champion, the Machine, James Wade!
Wins already today in Gibraltar for Andy Bolton, Gerwyn Price and Simply the West, Steve West. Can James Wade, a former Gibraltar Darts Trophy champion, join them, or will it be the last man to hit a 9-darter on the European Tour, R.Smith, who 5 years ago produced perfection?
Let in someone of Lewis's quality, you will get punished. But a good response here.
R.Smith is looking to emulate them, and he's still going. That's 6 perfect darts from R.Smith. The 7th is there. He comes down for treble 15, hits it. R.Smith has hit a perfect 9 darts! 180, 180, 141 and double 18. He receives a hug from Adrian Lewis. That was clever, wasn't it? Even put it in a big picture frame. So yeah, 5 years ago, that happened in this very hall back in the days of 2013. That's sort of like an echo through the ages thing. But R.Smith, could he reproduce that?
First leg is James to throw first. Game on.
He has the curse of R.Smith written across the back of his shirt, printed specially for this weekend, back on the European Tour and given himself a chance to do something very, very special once more. I'm Dan Dawson, Rob Malarkey in commentary as the Machine
45.
Takes on Smudger.
Well, it would be something special if R.Smith were to conjure up another 9-dart leg on this very same stage here in Gibraltar. There have been an abundance of 9-dart legs everywhere you turn in the 5 years since R.Smith did it here. But on the European Tour stage, the curse of R.Smith still very much alive and very much with us.
47.
I think the first and foremost objective for R.Smith, though, is overcoming James Wade, who, let's face it, is very close to getting back to his very pinnacle, isn't he? He's the world number 10 once again, seeded 11 here, back amongst these seeds for a European Tour event. It's great to see. And he's certainly been really acquitting himself well. He's had a fair few disappointments of late, but James Wade this year, especially on the European Tour stage, has just seemed to have rediscovered something and is very much back in business, and it's terrific to see. He's had some really good runs on the European Tour stage this year as well. Let's just quickly remind you before we go too much further down the road in this particular match. He has obviously made a couple of semi-finals this year as well, and he made the final of the European Darts Grand Prix in Sindelfingen as well, losing to Michael van Gerwen by 8 legs to 3. And James Wade is very much a very difficult obstacle to overcome once again, and I think that will be the primary objective here for R.Smith, if he can make any sort of impression against a man who is clearly the overwhelming favourite to win this match as well.
R.Smith, career 9-darters, 2. R.Smith, career victories over James Wade, 0. 25 and ball. get the 25.
69. James Gibraltar 74.
71 required now. Treble 17 for double 10. Not to be, so a chance of a break of throw here for R.Smith.
Yeah, that loose first start for Wade really scuppering him and just knocking him off balance there, really. R.Smith, well, okay, 48 away now. So he'll stay there for 16s, and he gets the job done. Not the most orthodox route to glory for R.Smith, but it's a leg on the board.
Game on.
Who looks a little bit almost shy and a bit embarrassed to have claimed that leg.
Well, he should have had 2 darts for the leg, and he only had 1. That's all he needed. He just snaffled that first leg away from James Wade.
Jamie Lewis, his victim in round 1 for R.Smith. He beat him 6-3, the World Championship semi-finalist. Turned over yesterday with an average of just under 92. There was some good stuff from Smith during the course of that one. There were 4 180s, a eye-catching checkout of 110 as well. Not too bad on the doubles either, 6 from 14.
Well, Jamie Lewis averaged 97 in that game.
57.
And R.Smith managed to resist him. So you can take a lot of credit from that, even though his own average down at 92 wasn't anything to write home about.
100.
But this tournament has had a history of rejuvenating big-name players' careers. It happened to James Wade. He won after a long barren spell of well over a year, and then went on to claim the Masters. Michael Smith had that annus horribilis,
60.
and then returned to the winner's circle in PDC darts by winning here last year and got back in the Premier League and went on to become the runner-up in it. Maybe
40.
this year it could be James Wade who does it again. It's been a long while since Wade has won a title again. Maybe it could be Adrian Lewis, who's been playing some very, very
95.
good stuff this year, but hasn't managed to win a title. It is more than 12 months since AD picked up a ranking title win. And it could be Adrian Lewis who the winner of this one faces. It's one of the ties of the second round as Jackpot takes on Mensur Suljovic in the 6th game of this evening session.
R.Smith is doing a lot of pacing around, and
139.
he's looking a little bit despondent and lots of shaking of the head. He doesn't look like a man who's leading 1-0.
For one moment I thought he was not going to be a man
96.
leading.
Russia
At
requires
all.
160.
But great setup shot from R.Smith. Has given him a chance. Doesn't need to use a bullseye with his checkout, but he did need 2 trebles.
140. James requires
Well, he's left
68.
himself Wade's modus operandi of double 10.
Game shot on the
But
second
it's
leg.
Wade who takes out
James
double
Wade.
10.
Third leg is James to throw first.
And it's an instant
Game
break
on.
back for the man who finds himself back in the top 10 on the Order of Merit, the overall Order of Merit. Making his 7th appearance on the European Tour this year is James Wade. This is a welcome return as a seeded player. As I said, he's made at least the semis on 3 occasions so far this year as well, so he is a certainty to play in the European Championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, those first 2 of the year where he's beaten by Peter Wright in both semi-finals. Peter Wright was absolutely spellbinding in both of those. James Wade was fantastic, but Peter Wright was
100.
just incredible. That's why he's got monkey support.
57.
Started the year well as well, did James Wade. He reached the final of the first Players' Championship event in Barnsley. It was a good chance to lay down a marker. It was his first Pro Tour final for over a year as well. And I think that might have, well, it may just have helped him establish himself again this year. It might have just have been the platform he needed to get back in terms and get back in business. Lost that to Van Gerwen, but on the way he played some terrific darts. He averaged a sensational 111 and a 6-0 win over John Henderson en route. And then he beat Rob Cross in the quarterfinals as well.
Yeah, we have seen some big 10+ averages from James Wade, which is not something you typically associate with Wadey.
180.
180 for Smith, leaves him 110, but 11 for double 10 for James Wade, will give him the lead. Oh.
17. Russia require 110. 40. James Require 14. Ganesh on the third leg.
Made nice inroads there, didn't he?
Well, leg is Ross to throw
James
first.
Wade.
Game on.
Yeah, textbook stuff from James Wade and just how to work your way up into a double there.
140.
Back on the global stage again this year in the World Series events in Vegas, in Shanghai, and down under as well. Good
81.
response, a good reward for James Wade as well. You know, despite not being selected for the Premier League this year, his attitude has been excellent, and he's been a leading performer on the
57.
circuit, and that's why he was perhaps given the opportunity to represent himself on the World Series stage once again.
100.
Has had those disappointments, but seems to have gotten over them.
I think James Wade and Adrian Lewis are in similar positions in darts. They've had to wait, by their own standards, a long while to pick up a title, but they are both playing in a manner that suggests one is around the corner.
45. Russia require 164. $128.
Nicely done.
$98. Russia require 36.
Well, R.Smith, he's played James Wade
Yeah, show on the fourth leg.
3
Ross
times,
Smith. Fifth leg is James to throw first. Game on.
and he's lost 5-2, 6-2, and 3-2. That 3-2 would have been in sets.
120.
So he's already got 2 legs here, so he's threatening to at least run James closer than he's done the last couple of times he's played him.
93.
And one of them was this year on the Pro Tour, where he's beaten 6-2 in a second round encounter. You kind of judge
60.
Wade by different standards, because if it's Rob Cross up there averaging in the mid-80s, you're thinking, well, Rob Cross isn't on his game here. This is, you know, something's wrong.
140.
With James Wade, it doesn't matter if he's averaging 108 or 78. If it's level or he's a leg ahead, you just think, Wade is just doing a job here.
100.
He'll see this out. He's quite happy with that. He won't get frustrated that he's not chucking an enormous average, whereas other players will. Wade just looks at the leg score and how many more he needs to win.
92.
A visit without a treble here,
60.
and that's exactly what has happened.
There's Sammy, set to become a mum later this year.
There's a few partners, wives, girlfriends here this weekend, isn't there?
Oh, but I think
140.
when they're offered a chance to come to Gibraltar for a weekend, they think that it's probably a better shout than Wigan or Barnsley.
No disrespect to either.
No.
97. Russia require 36.
For a break.
At least you don't get
Yeah,
monkeys
shot on the
in
fifth
Barnsley.
leg. Ross Smith. Sixth leg is Ross to throw first. Game on.
13 dart break, backing up the 13 dart hold. And Ross Smith, over the course of legs 2 and 3, was just displaying a bit of body language, which
57.
suggested he wasn't totally happy. But whatever the problem was, he seems to have addressed it and turned things around. But although he's kicked off with 57 there.
180.
No surprise, Wade finds himself behind and with a bit of work to do and just piles in a big visit.
96.
Turns it off and on like a tap, this man. Like a tap.
85. $24.
Well, I think it's safe to say this one is slipping away from Ross Smith already. Wade needing to come good, but given a massive helping hand here by Ross Smith, you have to say.
60.
That said, Wade still not down to a finish after 9 darts.
$100.
He played the one tournament last year, Ross Smith, And that didn't go well.
140.
Played one in April and went out in the very first round. But he's back now, and he says he's hungry again. He
80. Change to require 36.
wants to make the most of his obvious talent.
Yeah, shot on the sick
But
leg.
it's a long road back.
7 leg is
And that's
James
3 13 darters in
Game on.
succession. 2 for Ross Smith, 1 for James Wade. But it is advantage Wade because he's broken immediately straight back. There you see. 18, 17, 18, 13, 13, 13. It's almost as if James Wade is playing at the level of his opponent, like he always
60.
seems to do. But he usually just nicks the game.
You throw down a 13 darter, I'll come right back at you with one of my own. A few trademarks of James Wade in evidence already today. Has been a while since we've seen Ross Smith on the European Tour prior to this weekend. He hadn't played in Europe since losing to Kyle Anderson in the first round in Austria a couple of years ago. Played in Gibraltar as well that year. Lost 6-2 to Joe Mernon in round 1.
135.
The James Wade formula may well be in effect by the end of this game. James Wade's average equals opponent's average plus 1. Ross Smith, if he keeps finishing as he is, he'll give himself a chance.
128.
Start in the 18s. Yes. Good counting. Good throwing. Good scoring.
162.
Well, he had some patchy visits in the previous leg, but looks to be back in business in this one.
One of the things I'm just noticing here, James Wade is
95.
His upturn in form this year.
146.
It's coincided with him working on some technical aspects of his game, and one of them was eliminating this little thing he did where he rises up on his front foot when he throws, and it looks like it's creeping back in. Is that in? No, it's not. Have a look at the 18s now.
58. Russia require 105.
Yeah, maybe the camera guys will try and highlight that for us, maybe in the next leg.
89. Change require 60. $20.
Well, we've had back-to-back breaks, and we might have another one now.
Ross Smith is finishing. It's been flawless so far.
And it still is.
7th leg for Ross Smith.
It is a third successive break.
Leg Ross to throw first. Game on.
When they played early this year, Ross Smith only got 2 legs against James Wade. He's currently just 2 legs away from victory here and a place in the final day
43
of the European Tour. And it has been a long time since we've seen Ross Smith on the Euro Tour. But I'm not sure he's made the final
100.
day before. Just going through our records here.
Sorry, what was the question before?
58.
That's Ross Smith has not made the final day of a Euro Tour before.
He has.
Has he?
Austria, 2013. Beat Ian White and Gary Anderson before losing to Brendan Dolan.
Good spot.
That's the only time.
Just the once.
Yeah, just the once. And that was 5 years ago.
108.
All 5 years ago for Ross Smith, but back in the here and now at Sun 80. Sees him take advantage in this 8th leg.
85.
Well, it's certainly not. James Wade, at the back end of last year, when he was probably throwing the worst darts of his PDC career, he had this real pronounced lift up on his front foot when he was throwing. It was
100.
It is not. I mean, he eliminated it completely. In fact, it doesn't appear to be causing that many problems. It's only a couple of times in this game where he just seems to have risen up.
Russia require 120.
It's not evident from that camera shot there, so maybe it's not as pronounced as I thought, but Ross Smith might be about to go within a leg here, and does do. 15 darter.
I think it's James to throw
and
first.
James Wade on the ropes here, the former champion in Gibraltar. Top 10 player in the world, one of the most decorated players in PDC history.
108.
Kicks off 180, but he might need more of them.
And Ross Smith, a man who only regained his tour card in January of this year, a man who's only won £4,250 in prize money in 2018 so far, is one leg away from seeing off the world number 10, James Wade, a former champion here. This would be a significant scalp for Ross Smith. It would be a final day involvement for only the second time in his career on the European Tour. And for all the talk of 9 darters 5 years ago, Ross Smith is looking to make records of a very different kind here this weekend, maybe.
140.
Unless James Wade can find another response, but James Wade being James Wade, you wouldn't put it past him. Looks to have this leg in the back.
46. Change to require 81.
14s. Yep. Lovely stuff.
71.
Well, it can get a little bit messy from there, but Ross Smith only scored 1 there, so James Wade's got all the time in the world.
22.
Not sure whether he would split this. 10. He might go straight at it.
I think he's got so much in hand, he has to go straight for it, and he has done, but he's come inside, but he won't be panicking just yet.
No score.
Busts his score and goes again.
$96. Change to require 10. $5.
Well, would
Russia
you
require 150.
picture the reaction and the look on James Wade's face if Ross Smith were to take out this 153?
$93. Change to require 5.
Well, James, this has to go now, otherwise you're in grave danger. Double 2 for Wade to keep himself going, and James Wade lives in fights again.
Throw first. Game on.
Well, this is the leg. Can Ross Smith produce his first ever victory over the machine James Wade?
59.
That doesn't help.
Lights have come out again.
Oh, James Wade's let that go. Ross Smith was bending down picking his darts up.
140.
If he'd stood up there, he would have got it in his ear.
Very close, wasn't it? Maybe Smith will let his darts do the talking now.
Look at this, James, on and off like a tap. He goes 5-3 down. He was on an 11 darter in the previous leg. He could well be on an 11 darter in a moment. He's at 4 180s in this game, James Wade.
$60.
Needs to leave a finish. Oh, and he's not done so. He moved to the 18s, but a careless dart means that James Wade's got 2 visits to see this off. And if he does see this off in 2 visits, he becomes favourite. He's no need to go for the 17s now.
Yeah, stays there, which is sensible, but Ross Smith
65.
Just giving James Wade that extra breathing space there with that loose final dart could make all the difference. But then again, Wade wasn't too convincing on the doubles in the previous leg, and Ross Smith will just keep on chipping away
60.
here in the hope he does get another opportunity. 56. But Wade surely won't make the same mistake twice.
Trusty double 10.
And he does not make the same mistake twice. And we are into a deciding leg.
Final leg.
James Wade was 5-3 down. He was in a spot of bother. He still has plenty of work to do, but he's throwing first here for a 6-5 win, and Ross Smith might just feel this one is slipping through his fingers, especially if Wade gets off to a flyer here.
100.
Just a ton.
$100.
Ton plays a ton so far. Nip and tuck. Toe and toe. All of the fees.
140.
Last leg deciders, so often just James Wade's territory. Just owned last leg deciders. When he went through his slump last year and he was playing poor darts, he kept on losing in these deciding 11th legs. But that is not the James Wade that we have in front of us today.
100.
I know it has not been a massive average. But look what he's done since he went 5-3 down. When he's been forced to focus, forced to find a better level of play, he's done so. Well, Smith's level hasn't dropped. It's been around the sort of high 80s average for most of this game. But James Wade is going to leave himself 3 darts for the match in a last leg decider on tops after 12, and it's just James Wade doing what James Wade does. This is old Wadey. This is the Wadey that won this title a few years back.
60. Change require 40.
Well, at 5-3 down, he had to refocus. He had to find himself again. And James Wade is now looking at double 5 for the match.
Does he bust it? He does bust it. I think that's a sensible decision. In that, bearing in mind that he missed all those darts at double 5 earlier on, with R.Smith not on a finish, he will come back and he'll get 3 clear darts at double top. And again, James Wade, because he has to focus, will focus. And he will hit it.
And James Wade, despite being under pressure in that final leg, comes through. He was in a spot of bother there, the world number 10, but as we said, at 5-3 down, he seemed to find something extra. He seemed to find the focus that he needed to. The shackles were off to some extent, and he played with a greater amount of freedom. Credit to R.Smith, though, for putting himself in that position in the first place, though. Some very, very good finishing from R.Smith. He was 5 from 5 during the course of that one. A couple of good moments for him, a 13-dart hold, a 13-dart break as he really took control. A 120 checkout caught the eye as well as he raced into a 5-3 lead, but it wasn't to be for the man who threw the most recent 9-dart leg here on the European Tour stage in Gibraltar. It's the end of the road for R.Smith. The curse
James,
of R.Smith
quick word. Congratulations.
In a very different way.
A real battle there, 5-3 down. You just had to find something. You're one of the best players in the world. When your back's against the wall, just finding another level, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I watched this young man play darts many, many years ago, and I thought, he's all right to average. But, you know, I've seen this young lad come along, and he's doing some special things at the moment, you know. I mean, he didn't play very well there, neither did I. Perhaps it's first round jitters. But, you know, I think we're all overlooking players like this, you know. He's starting to go in the right direction.
This place, Gibraltar, it's kind of where you started making your comeback after having some tough times. This must have happy memories for you, winning this tournament a few years back.
Well, I don't know about that. No, I mean, I've come here this year, you know, my wife is pregnant, obviously. You know, it's quite a special occasion. You know? It's our first holiday for our child. You know, I'm just enjoying this as a holiday. You know, it's the first time in my life I've come away and had fun rather than I've gone to work. So, but you know, onwards and upwards, and I look forward to tomorrow.
Enjoy it into the final day. The machine, James Wade, a former winner of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy.